Everyone pull up a chair. As you can see, I look a little different. I have been battling something in my system for the last couple of days. I don't know what. But apparently I came on the other side looking like a fat Abraham Lincoln. Yeah, let me give you an update on that, Ronan, before we get into my rant here. So, boxes for the box tier. I have these here in the office to be painted. The books are being shipped. They are in the printing process right now. I probably will not receive them for another week or two. Then once those come in, I have to get the money together to actually ship it, because I, had thousands upon thousands of dollars stolen from me that would have gone to shipping them. So, I'm working on amending that. Here's the thing. And by the way, you will get a email when we ship them. So, I just found out kind of what I feared is that y'all know I don't watch a lot of YouTube. There's very few streamers that I actually watch. And one of them is Ceres Fauna. Who just announced she's graduating. Leaving in January. What the fuck is Cover thinking? Like, what the hell are they doing over there? I want people to think about this for a second. Let's, if I am managing a bunch of streamers, meaning I get a cut of their revenue on their streaming 3 to 4 times a week. I'll answer questions later. I have a rant to do, so please don't distract me. If you're managing someone and they stream 3 to 4 times a week, as the manager, you are getting a cut of everything that they're bringing in, which is super chats, ad revenue, memberships. All of that you're getting a cut of. You have dozens of talents that are raking in huge bucks. The smallest streamers that you have in your management corporation, I think, are somewhere around 500,000 subscribers. So when you have talents like this that are consistently bringing in money, and then you're saying we're going to go in the direction that we know that you don't want to go in, and you don't have the flexibility to work with the people that, by the way, are your fucking bread and butter. If you don't have the flexibility to work with them and make it work for them, you're making a stupid business decision. Here's the fact about HoloLive. They just had 2 major names from their company announce graduations within 2 days of each other. Holy fucking shit. They've had multiple graduations over the last year, I think 4 or 5, and the reasoning for them has almost unilaterally been disagreements with the management. This is one of the biggest problems with Japanese businesses ever, and it is inflexibility. Inflexibility is bad. You, in business, and this is, by the way, the interesting thing, for those of you who don't know the history of Japanese business, a lot of their practices are effectively American practices without the flexibility. So it is American ideas implemented by a very different culture than America. Americans are, by and large, flexible. I think if there's any one thing that classifies what an American is, it's raw determination, because Americans are willing to push themselves to a ridiculous degree to get something done. There's that, and then there's flexibility, the ability to adapt to a situation. For example, let's say that I have a group of 20 talents in front of me. I have an idea of something I would like to do. And I go in front of all the talents and I say, this is what I would like to do. And 5 out of 20 of them love the idea. The rest of them don't. That's a problem. Second scenario. I have 20 talents in front of me. I propose the idea. 15 like it, 5 don't. But the 5 that don't are some of my biggest earners. I'm reconsidering the position. Instantly. Instantly. At that point, I'm saying to myself, okay, we've got a problem here. Not to mention, if my biggest talent is consistently having health problems, and I'm putting a schedule on to my talents that is causing people to leave, I need to re-examine what the fuck I'm doing. This is my problem with Japanese business. Japanese business looks at people purely as numbers. Purely as numbers. You are a cog in the wheel. They are, to use a 40K reference, Japanese businesses are a lot like the Imperium of Man. You are a cog in the wheel. You know, you are meant to be, unless you are a fucking space marine, you are meant to be, you know, gum for the fucking treads, you know. The Japanese legal system made it that way. The culture made it that before the legal system did. And this is something that, admittedly, people, don't seem to understand about Japan. Everybody talks about base Japan and this and that. There are some elements of Japan that are really cool. There are some elements of Japan which need to be fixed. And that they need to understand this isn't working. And they just stick to it because it's a tradition without asking, does this tradition continue to make sense? Or is it doing more harm than good? Because the fact of the matter is that there's a lot of elements of Japanese tradition and, you know, Japanese culture that are the reason that they have a low birth rate. That are the reason that so many, you know, young men are hesitant to even approach women. That they're, you know, and that there's, you know, these societal issues that Shinzo noticed and tried to do something about before he passed away, you know? And this is something that I think is emblematic of that. Now, because here's the thing. From what I am noticing, whenever it comes to like Hololive and cover, too much focus on Idaru, not enough focus on streaming. Streaming's your bread and butter. Streaming is what gets you to that point. If I were in cover's position, and I notice that I have talents on YouTube that are raking in stupid amounts of super chats and stupid amounts of memberships that are close to 1 million subscribers or more, leaving because of a disagreement with my direction, I need to adapt at that moment. I need to reconsider something. I need to offer a counterpoint. Okay, you don't like the way that this is going. How about this? What if I do X, Y, and Z for you, make a counteroffer basically, will you consider staying? And then go from there. But we know this isn't happening because they're constantly pushing the idol stuff on all of their fucking talents. All of them. Why in the fuck do you have a generation of talent under your program called gamers engaging in concerts? And by the way, and there are going to be Hololive fans that get very angry at me, and I don't give a fuck. Most of them can't sing. Good amount of them can dance. You know. Some of them are very attention-getting with how they dance. I can name a couple. One of them rhymes with brony. But the thing is, this lack of flexibility is going to fuck them over in the long run. Whoa! That is $250 worth of something. I don't recognize the type of money. But he sends $250 of something. Says, "Hi, Micah. I've been a fan for a while," and he throws two of them at me. Holy shit, dude. He says, "Been a fan for a while. I need advice. I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but got stuck in paralysis by analysis for years. I want to do everything and end up doing nothing." Well, Bunker, thank you for the 500 rubles. Holy shit, dude. I apologize for not knowing your currency, by the way. I am admittedly... Oh, it's pesos. So $10. Thank you. I appreciate, regardless, to answer your question, even though I was like mid-rant, is it was an accident, see if YouTube will refund you on that. I can't do it from my end. At least I don't think. Let me try. No, it doesn't give me the option. So yeah, just go to, get in touch with YouTube and see if they can refund that for you. I'm sorry about that, buddy. But, regardless, to answer your question, because it actually does kind of fall into this, the question that you have to ask yourself, what am I the most passionate about? You know? What is the one thing that you are most passionate about? Because this is a question I had to ask myself. You know, because my birthday is, how many days from now? It's like next Wednesday, I think. Let me check the calendar. Yeah, next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I hit 1 year away from the fact that it's pathetic that I'm not married, you know, at that age. Even though I've been married once already. The one thing that I had to decide for myself whenever it came to YouTube, it was about a year ago, was I had to ask myself, well, actually, it was close to a year and a half ago. I had to ask myself a question. I said, what is it that I want out of this? Because I was very much, how do I put, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I'm going to get some numbers up real quick. Let me see if I can put up a custom timeline. So, let's say 6/2/2023. Okay, so we can actually start to see where the change started to happen. I'm going to show you guys this real fast. So, these are my analytics. So this is kind of showing you a little peek behind the curtain. Right here, you'll notice this dip of 111 subscribers. I don't remember what happened that day, but I remember saying something about not doing culture war content, and then a few people just is like, "What the fuck? I'm out of here." Then you'll notice that a couple of videos came out around the same time. Gundam Explain the 1 Year War Part 1. This wasn't the beginning of my collaboration with Shirt Dude, but it was close to the start of it. It actually started with the Blood Plus video. But right around March of last year, and then one thing you start noticing is that the subscriber numbers per day, there's a constant gain, whereas before then, not so much. The jump here, and also the jump in views, which you'll notice started going up and up and up and up. Is because I embraced what I'm most passionate about. The thing that I am most passionate about is not fucking like culture shit or the culture war. I actually am pretty disconnected from it. I follow what's going on in it, but I don't engage in it because I have my opinions, but I don't have a desire to constantly fight battles because honestly, I've noticed that I am too moderate for some people's sensibilities in regards to how to approach it. But regardless, I said to myself, I'm not passionate about this. I'm passionate about defending the arts and about seeing improvement in the arts. And the way that I figured to do that is to go back to what I'm best at, which is criticism. You know, if I am one thing on YouTube, I am a critic. You know, outside of YouTube, I'm a writer and an editor. And funnily enough, my experiences as a writer and editor funnel into that. So the question that you just have to ask yourself is, what is the one thing in life you are most passionate about? What is that one thing that you can't stop talking about, that you could talk about forever? The verbal equivalent to a food you could eat forever. That is your starting point. Steven Chosa, thank you for $5. He says, happy early birthday. Did you know the change in the dating system was not implemented because of whiny atheists, right? Well, it's a joke. But there is, that is part of it, is they wanted a something secular, which I think is silly. The fact of the matter is that the birth of Christ is one of the most significant historic events of all time, even if you aren't a believer. Because the fact of the matter is that the culture of the entire fucking planet changed from that day onward. And we would not have what we have now without it. Without the philosophy and the ideas that came from Christianity and all of the ideas that spawned from it, we wouldn't have the West as we understand it. We wouldn't have a culture that is consistently improving, from what it used to be. We wouldn't have all of these things. So, like, the whole BCE and CE stuff, it's fucking stupid. Anno Domini, Year of Our Lord. I will continue to use it. But like most of the planet does. The fact of the matter is that Christ and the rise of Christianity changed the world, and in my opinion, for the better. So yes, I am going to continue to make jokes about Reddit atheists, though. And thank you for the $5, by the way. Because admittedly, Reddit atheists are like the most annoying people. God. Man. I need to, I guess I'm going to be subscribing to Lemon Leaf. Anyway. Yeah, Simple Zoc puts it well. Just because you don't follow religion doesn't mean you can't acknowledge the good it's brought about. Oh, Dead Ronin, you weren't, dude. Not at all. Not at all, dude. I admittedly started this whole stream frustrated because of, like, the announcement that Fauna's graduating. And just looking at that and being like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Like, it mystifies me how much, like, people could fuck up that much. It's like, what are you even doing? If I have a talent that has close to 1 million subscribers, one of my most beloved, is like, yeah, I'm out. At that point, I'm wondering, what the fuck is going on here? Who's Lemon Leaf? That was Fauna's nom de guerre before she joined Hololive. I don't know why I went with French that time. Don't most historians say Jesus was born in 4 BC? It's debated. It's not really like a definitive thing. We don't really know 100%. Columbia says here, the past 15 years have really shown how foolish companies can be. Say this is someone who's pro-market. Holy fuck, why are you doing these practices? Everyone can see it now. Yeah, it's amazing to me. I have more shit to rant about. It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm not of the opinion that business is complicated. Not really. Like, before, starting Grindstone, and before, like, effectively running my YouTube channel like a business, Um, so I'm effectively managing two at once. Before this, I managed a lawn service company that, you know, we were pulling in over like millions of dollars worth of sales every year. So I was at the top of that prior to this, and I had learned business from my one of my the owners of a hotel I had worked at when I was in my like early to mid 20s. So this was a long time ago. And he the one thing that he drilled into my head is that, Micah, business is simple. People pay you money for a service, and you do whatever you need to do to make sure they keep paying you. It's that simple. And that was something that I carried into everything after that. What is the expectation? What is it that people want out of you? You know, what is that? You know, like with me, obviously people want more Gundam videos. People really love that sort of stuff. Now, I'm going to do other things to balance it out so I don't go crazy. But people really like my take on the lore, and they like about how I am admittedly willing to point out how some of the edgier elements of it are completely irredeemable in regards to like Xeon and stuff like that. That's one thing I've really noticed. There's a lot of people who really like my takes on Xeon, which I think is fucking hilarious. Not to mention people who hate Seed seem to like me a lot too. But anyway, there's an unofficial successor to Gundam's learning computer within the UC called the Alice system. Yeah, that's Gundam Sentinel. I'm aware of that. But anyway, but people like Gundam lore with me. I think of it this way. There's one YouTube channel that I like that does Warhammer lore. There's a couple guys called Isander and Coda. Some of you might have seen them, maybe not. I like them quite a bit because they primarily are doing Warhammer stuff because Isander just loves it, and Coda is fascinated by it. Obviously, is there to kind of be the straight man, or kind of like the Coda is there for the people that are learning about Warhammer, and he's kind of having the reactions that a lot of people do when you first learn about it and you think it's kind of cool. So, right there's Zoc. Isander and Coda mentioned. Them and Baltimort's Guide to Warhammer are my favorite Warhammer lore channels. Baltimore, at some point, I'm going to do, like, I need to hire that guy to do voiceover for comic book trailers for me. He just has the perfect voice for it. If you've ever... He's the guy who got me into the Salamanders. Because I had replayed through Space Marine at one point, and I was looking up videos about 40K. And then his video about the Salamanders came up, and I'm like, these guys are incredible. Like, they're actual heroes. You know? I love this. Because I liked the Black Templars, because the Black Templars kind of fit my motif. Because they're always crusading. Which, how can you not love that? But, the funny thing about it is, anyway, I'm going way off tangent. But there's an expectation, right? With me in regards to, and like with Isander and Code and things like that. But they also mix in other things that they're passionate about. I really liked Coda's discussions of the timeline of Mass Effect. He did a really good job of it. Of kind of framing, okay, so this is humanity, but there's all these other races that are also important. This is what they were doing at the time. This is where all of it converge, and then here come the Reapers. Like, really, really great stuff. Great job from those dudes. But anyway, my whole thing is like, I want to be able to mix in other things for the sake of my sanity, but I understand people really like me talking about Gundam. And people, like somebody earlier, which I hope that they didn't get mad at me saying no questions yet. Because now it's fine. I have a feeling to be rambling before we even get to a fucking video game. But somebody asked me, like, Victory Gundam. Like, why is it that the colonies are not even we don't really do much in the colonies in Victory Gundam? Why is it mostly on Earth? There's a reason for that, which I'll get to in a minute. But anyway, the fact of the matter is that in business, there's an expectation of what you're doing. Now, there's nothing wrong with mixing it up and adding new things, but you never stray away from what brought you to the dance. And if you start to fuck up at the things that brought you to the dance, what the hell are you even doing? Here's a good example of that. Pizza Hut. Does anybody remember the last time Pizza Hut pizza was fucking good? I do. Over 10 years ago. Nowadays, their sauce is closer to ketchup than it is pizza sauce. It is so fucking sweet that it makes no sense. And I understand I am ranting about food like a fat bastard, but I like food. It's another thing I'm very passionate about. If you saw how detailed I was in my cooking, like, people have seen the food I make. Like, especially when I make everything from scratch, like my pizzas. Like, well, not everything. I don't make the cheese from scratch, but I know how to. Which is even crazier. I could make mozzarella if I had the right stuff for it. But anyway. Hello? Hello, Steven. But Pizza Hut kind of lost what they were best at. You know, another example. My first job, or my favorite job I had as a teenager, because I only had a few, like sophomore year, junior year, senior year. My favorite of the three that I had was I worked at a Hardee's. I loved that job. Probably. There was a point where if they had offered me a management position, because I had been working there for like a year, if I had been offered a management position there, I would have taken it. But they went out of business. But the reason that they went out of business is because they didn't have any focus. Like, for example, when I started at Hardee's, do you want to know what? I started out making fried chicken. What the fuck am I making fried chicken in a burger joint? Well, that was the problem, is they were doing everything. And they were losing business because of it, because they weren't good at any one thing. Then, and we also did roast beef, too. Like, it was crazy. I wasn't 18 yet, so I couldn't run the slicer either. With Hardee's, in my opinion, it should be simple. Give me a burger, or give me sandwiches. That's it. Yeah. Back in my day, I even have the old man sweatshirts now. It's great. That's why I started calling myself Uncle Micah, because that's basically the vibe I give off. Is either your big brother, or like, to some people it come across as either your big brother or your uncle. But anyway, though with the gray coming in on my beard, some people are probably going to think grandpa here soon. What's even funnier is that you can kind of see it. I cut my hair ridiculously short, but you can kind of see it. I'm actually getting like the Reed Richards gray, like right here, which I'm actually perfectly fine with. I don't mind it at all. I'm kind of looking forward to going gray, because one thing I found some emails. Side tangent. I found some emails from my birth family. For those who don't know, I was adopted. I have 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters, and I got to finally like email back and forth with them and stuff like that. And I saw some pictures of my birth father, who I look almost exactly like. The only difference is he's shorter than me. But the one thing I noticed, he never went bald. Like my older brothers, they lost this hair right here and then started going bald, but Dad didn't. And I seem to be having the same thing because if you look from the side, it looks pretty thick, right? It's just when you look down at it. So that's why I'm hoping this year to get on Keeps or something to just fill in the spots. But anyway, because my hairline has been like, I've had a big forehead for a long time. But anyway, when it comes right down to it, can you go over the list of jobs Micah has had? I think there's an odyssey there worth learning. Oh, there's a lore. Like, it's crazy. How many brothers do you have? I have 2 brothers from my birth family, 2 older brothers. I know next to nothing about them. I have 2 older. It's kind of a funny thing. If I had not been adopted, I would be the youngest of 5. But as an adopted kid, I am the oldest of 3, technically 4 if you include my second oldest of 5 if you include my stepsisters, because I have a stepsister that's like 6 months older than me. But yeah, Micah, bouncer, writer, insurance agent, not agent, adjuster. No, wait, I did work as an insurance agent. That is right. I did both. The agent thing didn't last very long. I didn't like it very much. But insurance adjuster, insurance agent, said bouncer as well, security guard, worked in a chocolate factory, tart wrangler. That's funny. But anyway, as it stands, you don't want to lose track of what is expected of you, because that's where your talents lie. If you're a burger joint, you shouldn't be making pizza. I don't think that's hard to say. You might have a banging pizza recipe. It's not what people want from you. You know? One example. One of my favorite places in Chicago to eat is Lou Malnati's. They do Chicago deep dish. Not only do they do Chicago deep dish, they do the best in town. Best in town. Right? And they stick to it. A Lou Malnati's pie is fucking delicious. And by the way, Jon Stewart got it wrong. We cook the marinara. You never don't cook. Like, to not cook the marinara, it would never go into the fucking oven. But anyway. Lou Malnati sticks to pizza. And things that are pizza oriented. Another one, Mr. Beef. They serve Italian beef. They serve a few other things as well, but Italian beef is their specialty, and that's most of what they make. I mean, they managed to make a sandwich that's mostly liquid. It's awesome. You know? With your size and being an insurance agent and hating it reminds me of Mr. Incredible. Funnily enough, I have an older cousin, literally looks like Mr. Incredible. I kid you not. Huge. Like, he's built like I am, like broad, but he's also really tall. He's 6'7". He looks exactly like him. It's hilarious. You know. Goodness. But yeah, there's too many people that get away from that. You know, and it's very rare that you can transition to something else, especially as an entertainer. And, you know, I don't know. The more I'm talking about it, the more I can also kind of understand why Fauna's graduating. Because she's good at streaming. She's actually incredible at it. She's ridiculously entertaining. And she's an ASMR artist. She's very good at that. And if that's what she's doing, she's obviously happy. She's ridiculously good at it. You know? So why deviate? Why are you trying to turn this person that is good at these two particular things? Why do you have them dancing at concerts when that's not their passion? The fuck are you doing? You know, it's sort of like... Here's an interesting example. So a lot of you know, Serena's in the chat. Serena is my protege as a writer. I am teaching her everything she needs to know in regards to the world of writing. But one thing, and she can confirm this, one thing I don't do is I'm not trying to take her away from her strengths. Ever. And if there's ever a point where she finally feels, confident in, writing more things, I'm not going to put her in a situation that she doesn't feel she can pull off. Because that would be stupid. That's not how you do it. I don't put people in positions that I don't think that they can't excel in them. I'm of the opinion that you can't put yourself in a position where you are where you're not utilizing your talent to the best of their ability. It's just something that always boggles my mind, man. I don't think I will ever, that'll be one thing I never understand about the Japanese. The inflexibility. You don't have to pay Micah to ask questions. Free throw to ask when he's on a roll. Wants to stay on the subject that's discussed. Though I will say payment is nice because I got bills to pay. Dwayne, you are completely good, dude. One thing you'll notice, I don't take offense to a lot of things. I'm not of the opinion... I will say this at there was a point in time, and Brain can kind of attest to this, because Brain has been at my side, helping me out with stuff, as long as Hatman has. Which says something. Brain was a fan of mine back during when I was working at Blistered Thumbs. He's been around. And he's been involved in helping me with stuff for a while. Like, when I started taking this seriously, or more seriously than I was at the time, Brain was right there. So Brain will understand. I used to kind of always assume that YouTube chats were just hostile by nature. Nowadays, I don't assume that. The one thing that I know for a fact that is true of me is that I cannot tell the tone in which someone is saying something in text, so I just stopped assuming tone. Unless they use threatening language, you know, which most people don't. Driving through Bloomington to Belleville a few days ago was shocked. The average apartment past Bloomington is 400 to 600. Northern Illinois is 850 to 100. Yeah, Bloomington's cheap, dude. I pay $700 a month in rent for my spot. Now, obviously, you can tell by looking around me that this place is showing its age. Like, you just look at this door. You hear that? That old metal? This is all, like, built in, like, the 50s, like, or something like that. Yo, Batzilla, what's up, dude? But when it comes right down to it, like, Bloomington's not that expensive to live in. I'm lucky that I've lived here the last 4 years than anywhere else in the state. Like, the only other place I think I would have survived is if I lived further south. Honestly. Like, if I lived close to my mom or something. But I really don't. I kind of like it here in central Illinois. You know? Like, I miss Chicago. Don't get me wrong. I do miss it. If Sauk Village had not become a crime-ridden hellhole, like most of Chicago is, at this point, I would consider moving back there. I actually had noticed, like, a couple years ago that my childhood home was up for sale. I thought about trying to buy it. Honestly. I thought about it. This is when I was working with RT. I actually thought about trying to put an offer in. But it ended up not happening. I think it's possible to end the culture war. Do you think it's going to go on forever? That's a good question. I'll get to that in just a second. When it comes to... but yeah, it's like, if I had moved back up there, like, it would have been a nightmare these last few years because of how pricey everything is. You know? So... But no, where I live, it's really nice. You know, it has become more expensive, but you know, it's still not terrible. The one thing that's just unfortunate, like, for me, has been the fact that garbage food is so cheap. And obviously, you know, given that I'm, you know, living off of money I make on YouTube, and I'm not making stupid big money yet, you know, I haven't been eating as well as I should. Which is why I've gotten fatter. Brainbox for 5. Thanks, Brain. Says, to be frank, YouTube chat was being hostile was a genuine problem if you were doing culture war stuff during the IBS era. People wanted blood back then. That is very true. That is very true. And yeah, Boss says it perfectly. It's got to the point living with your parents is not as frowned upon due to everything being so expensive. Yeah. There are people that, again, are like talents working with HoloLive that still live with their fucking parents. It's like, what? You've got 500,000 subscribers. And unless HoloLive is taking stupid amounts of a percentage off of what you're doing, dear God, you know, though they might be, and that's also why people are leaving. What is IBS? Internet Blood Sports. If you're gonna move to Kentucky, I suggest London, Kentucky. Places full of judgment for anyone who's not them. I would. My heart is set on North Carolina. Though my parents are not stupid down with that, but let me answer Dwayne's question here. He says, "Do you think it's possible to end the culture war? Do you think it's going to go on forever?" Until people realize that the answer to the situation is don't be a dick, it's going to keep going on. that's basically it. You know? Like, hey, physics, what's going on, dude? You know, and this kind of ties into it. I'm honestly glad, physics, that we cut away from the political stuff, because the issue that I have when it comes to the culture war is that it just seems like anybody is capable of being is a dick, and they think it's a solution, and then they wonder why everyone doubles down on everything. You wanna know why a lot of people double down on shit? Is because they are under the impression that if they are wrong, it's the end. That if they're wrong about something, that they're going to be destroyed. You know, it's like, oh no, if I'm wrong about a thing, or I admit that I'm wrong about a thing, then suddenly, especially, and this is mostly true on the internet, suddenly I'm going to end up as like the subject of a Medicare video or something like that. It's like, sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're being an asshole. Sometimes you should reconsider the things that you're doing. Sometimes you're not. But if you're constantly being a dick to everyone around you and doubling down on everything, you learn nothing. Until everything falls apart. And then whose fault is it? Yours. Boss saw it already. Inflexibility. You have to be willing to course correct. People aren't willing to do that. You see all these people in politics that are doubling down on ideas that people don't vibe with. I won't go into detail, but they're seeing that, and you know, it's like they're doing the whole Principal Skinner thing of, am I incorrect? No, it's the children who are wrong. No, dude, you were wrong. Like, you thought that the direction you were going was a great idea, and then you just, like, you fucked it up. And it's wild to me. You know, absolutely wild. But yeah, until people are willing to start being like halfway decent to each other again, it's gonna keep going. Yeah, politics brings the worst attitudes to people. Yeah, it really does. Here's an example. Did anybody in here see Destiny's appearance on Piers Morgan? I did. Now, I already don't like that fucking guy. He is like Reddit personified. But the one thing that struck me with Piers Morgan, having him on there, because he brought him on there after his comments about that one dad who shielded his family from bullets at that Trump rally. Like the absolute shock he was in. He would say that it was perfectly fine that dude died. And he wouldn't say that it's bad for democracy to think that it's okay to try to shoot a possible presidential candidate. Like, the absolute shock on Piers' face and on other people on the panel, like, that's emblematic of people who grew up in a politer society than now. You know? But he is a good example of why things aren't getting better. Because he's just a dick about everything. Why? Why the fuck do you have to be such an asshole? Jesus Christ, dude. Stop being evil. Why is that so hard? Even Google, who sloganized "Don't be evil," had a problem with being evil because it turned out they were discriminating against people in their hiring practices. Wait, no, it wasn't that. It was they were fired people for having the wrong ideas. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just don't be a dick. Just don't. Just if you can be halfway decent, people are more likely to like you, even if they don't agree with you. You know? When people start acting halfway decent to each other again, things will start to get better. But the problem is that we live in a world that kind of incentivizes the other. You know? The fact of the matter is, if I go on Twitter and say something spicy, like, I like, there was some dude I recently just called a fucking idiot on Twitter. It was easily my biggest tweet, like, over the last, 3 weeks. Like, completely. Because what I said probably embodied the fury that other people had when they read what that other dude said. It was that dude who works for Obsidian that was basically flat out, self-reporting that he discriminates against people of his own race, of his own skin color, which is like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing, dummy? Which, by the way, got so bad that Chris Avellone had to come out. Chris Avallone's one of the founders of Obsidian. Had to come out and say, sue them if you think that you were discriminated against. But because what I said effectively was emblematic of some people's fury that they felt, retweets, likes, gives you the dopamine hit, making you want to be a dick. And admittedly, I was so fired up over it that I was a dick to somebody else, and I kind of regret it. Only kind of, but I do kind of regret it. So I got off Twitter. I'm like, I'm going to stay off Twitter for a few days. So, Boss puts another one. It's also dying on stupid hills and needs to stop. Yeah, that's another thing. Again, inflexibility. Sometimes you're just not correct. You know? Like, one thing that I've noticed is that some people, they'll either die on the stupid hill or they'll never admit that they're wrong and try to learn from it. It's like, why was I wrong here? What did I miss? There are some people that I actually do follow in the political sphere. Like, that I get my political news from, because I'm old, I'm a boomer, you know, so I do keep track of politics. One thing that, the ones that I follow reacted to the 2020 election as, what did I miss? Like, why is my prediction wrong? And they found out. They figured it out, you know? The people who don't adapt are the ones that die. That's evolution, baby. You know? I can't believe I just quote... Why did I just quote Pearl Jam? I regret everything now. Stream over. I'm kidding. But... Ronan just made me laugh. Fuck you. But yeah, it's like either dying on the hill or just not admitting you're wrong. Just pretending the discussion never happened. Like, I remember, some people will probably remember this. Pepperidge Farm remembers, and I know Brain will remember this because he and I talked about this after it happened. Mortal Kombat 11. What came out at the time where Get Woke, Go Broke was like the big catchphrase. You put Get Woke, Go Broke in your fucking... In the title of a YouTube video, you were bound to get thousands of views, if not more. Because it's just that's what people were looking up. So, Mortal Kombat 11 sold very well, despite the fact that Jax had an ending to his story mode that basically that was written by a white dude who seemed to think that all black people want is Wakanda. Yeah. It was kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? So, but it sold like gangbusters. Sold very well. Got a ton of DLC and an expansion pack. Like, MK11, despite me not liking it nearly as much as Mortal Kombat X is my favorite Mortal Kombat game. But MK11 did really well. And the people who were talking about the wokeness element of it suddenly stopped talking about Mortal Kombat 11 when the sales figures came out. Now, why was that? Well, it's because they wouldn't ask themselves, okay, this one seemed to go woke, but it didn't go broke. Why is that? And they didn't ask the question. They never figured it out. Here we are with MK1 still selling gangbusters. The funny thing with MK1 is like the base game sold well, but the DLC apparently did so poorly that they're not doing any more. Like, ouch. But then again, like, you price the expansion at like $50 when people had paid close to $100 for the first season plus the game. It's like, what are you expecting? You're overcharging and under-delivering. You know? What'd you think of Spawn being in MK11? He was my favorite character to play as. He was like the main character I played like the entire time. Unless I wanted to piss people off, then I'd play RoboCop. I'd be a dick. Because RoboCop was a fucking zoner. But yeah, the fact of the matter is that like people will just won't they won't examine it, or they'll double down on something stupid. For example, the Silent Hill 2 remake. There are people still doubling down on the sentiment of this 19-year-old rape victim isn't hot enough. There's still people that think that like, what? What the fuck? Really? Really, homie? So, yeah, Penny's 100% right. It's not woke. It's effectively the same game, but with more stuff. You know? And from a different camera perspective, which some people don't like. You know, I had someone in for my podcast. Someone had said, you know, I don't like the remake because I don't understand why everything has to be this third person over the shoulder camera. Okay, fair enough. You know, if you don't dig it that way, that's fine. Not that I disagree. I actually prefer that camera style when it comes to horror. But the discourse around Silent Hill 2 was the dumbest stuff. Like, one of the culture warriors in regards to it told Masahiro Ito that he wasn't the same level as the people who worked on the original game. You know, Masahiro Ito, the art director from the original fucking game. Really? We're doing this? And then there was the take of, because you're killing monsters, you can't take on the theme of sexual assault. And on top of that, then they tried to shift to, oh, they worked with a consultancy company. They worked with a PR consulting company. You know, PR, the public relations, the people that aren't involved in the fucking development of the game. Shut the fuck up. And by the way, one of the people that was echoing that sentiment was Mark Kern. Mark, if somebody shows you this, we had a couple conversations during the Gamergate days. Nothing against you personally. You know how public relations works. You should. You worked at Blizzard forever. You know how those departments work. And you know they don't have a whole lot to do with development. Come on, dude. And what gets me is that some of the people that are involved in this are smarter than this. So that's an example of like dying on the wrong hill. Like, I said it that like Silent Hill 2 literally broke people. It literally broke their fucking brains. Because these dudes who were used to having like full-on culture warrior support were getting none of it from the people in the middle when they had that before. Because most people just want video games to be the best that they can be. You know? That's it. They just... And you know, if you're supporting the idea that video games need to ditch this one element that makes it worse, most people can get behind that. MK1 multiplayer is broken. Story is at least better than MK11, though 11 was trash and all but post-story DLC. I'm enjoying Sparking Zero. Well, thank you for the $5, Gunny. I haven't played MK1, so I really have no opinion on it. Though I do love the fact that they got John Cena in it. That to me is cool. And admittedly, if Conan is voiced by Arnold, might be tempting if it goes on deep discount, maybe. Actually, not really. It's not worth that much money. Brain for 10, thank you very much, says, the thing that mystifies me is when they chose Angela for the Uggo Whammon equals woke. They could have chose Maria for that. Not that I would agree, but it'd be a hell of a lot less sus. Well, they did. They tried it with Maria, too. And it didn't really fit because the one thing that was pointed out was just her jawline. You know? That was it. That was the one thing that they pointed out was the jawline. And it's like, or the outfit changed. But it's sort of like, like it wasn't that big of a deal. Not to mention, I'm going to be honest, in the Silent Hill 2 remake thing, if you walk behind Maria, that dress leaves nothing to the imagination. At all. Not that I'm complaining. Because she's supposed to be tantalizing. But she's also not supposed to look like a super hot model, because she's supposed to look like the average wife of an average dude. Which is what James is. He's just a guy. You know? It's sort of like... Some people have noticed that Space Marines in 40k Space Marine, despite the scarring, are almost all ruggedly handsome. It's because they are the apex of humanity. It's what the Space Marines are supposed to be. And whenever you take on the gene seed of your Primarch, some elements of their genetic code get written into yours. Robute Gilliman is a really handsome guy. So, it's sort of the same thing with the Blood Angels. They're kind of all good-looking dudes. You know? They just have that to them. It's the same reason why all the Space Wolves have fangs. It's because Leman Russ had fangs. Or why... if I were turned into a salamander, I would come out of the process, if I survived, having the same skin that they do. Because that's Vulcan's gene seed, you know? So like, it makes sense for them to look that way, you know? Whereas, if if Maria and Mary, like facially speaking, didn't look like average women that I could run into when I'm making a Walmart visit, it would be really weird. Just saying this as a Silent Hill fan. It would be really fucking weird. It's also like if they ever remake Silent Hill 3, which I don't know if Bloober is going to continue to do those. It doesn't seem like they are, which is kind of unfortunate. But with like if they ever do a remake of Silent Hill 3, if Heather doesn't look like an average teenager, it would be really weird. Because again, she's just supposed to be an average person. That's the point of Silent Hill. Silent Hill is average people getting caught in a fucked up situation. Oddly enough, there's something I kind of love about Lovecraft too, is like Lovecraft isn't as scary if you're Dimitri and Titus, using Space Marine as an example. I think Brain, I think you and I were talking about this one time, how easy it would be to make a 40k survival horror game. Like, specifically with, like, Slaneshi demons, or the fucking Drukhari. You know? There's that one sequence in Space Marine 2's campaign where you're in that room, on the that Mechanicus vessel, I think it was. No, it wasn't a Mechanicus vessel. It was I don't remember. It's the third level, I think. But you're in this room, and the power goes out. All you see is the glowing of the Space Marine's eyes. If you weren't 3 members of the Adeptus Astartes, and then you're in a pitch black room surrounded by necromorphs, and if you were anybody else, that's a horror game. You know? Hey, Josh1920, what's going on, dude? Steve Chose throws in a couple bucks, says, didn't Lovecraft make every minority villains? Not quite. Some of his stuff has been interpreted as his commentary on certain societal issues that he had because he was turbo racist for a chunk of his life. Apparently, when he got married, he softened a lot. At least from what I've read. But there is a theory that The Shadow over Innsmouth is his commentary on interracial marriage. Which is just hilarious. Because The Shadow over Innsmouth is a terrifying story. It's what makes it so great. Speaking of terrifying stories, and also of like horror stories, I read a book. Shocking, I know. I read a book that I have a recommendation for you guys. Right here. Carcharodon's Red Tithe by Robbie McNiven. This book is awesome. It was a blast to read. Wasn't he also an anti-Semite? Oh yeah. Yeah, fuck like Lovecraft's turbo racist. If you want a 40k story about the fucking Shark Boys, on a prison planet fighting Night Lords. Dude hated his own grandmother for being Anglo. That is true. But, if you want to see, if you want to read a really good 40k book, like Red Tithe is awesome. Effectively, the idea of this is that the Carcharodons have this thing called the Red Tithe. They have two tithes. They have the Red Tithe and the Grey Tithe. The Red Tithe is where they take of flesh. The Grey Tithe is when they take of steel. The Red Tithe, what they do is they go to a planet, solve a problem, and then they basically say, hey, we need people. We need recruits. Oftentimes they go to prison planets because nobody's going to miss them. But other times they've gone to more civilized worlds. But in this story, they go to a prison planet. Their chief librarian, who, by the way, has one of the coolest fucking spells I've ever seen in 40k, used in this, where he literally makes a shark out of earth and clamps it on a guy. But they're going to this planet because their chief librarian senses a psyker on it that's young and very powerful. The thing is, the Night Lords sense it too. And the Night Lords want to turn him into a demon host. Or rather, their priest wants to. The leader of the Night Lords does not want to. He's there just because he thinks he's going to make his warband more powerful. And it is effectively the Space Marines, the Carcharodons, who are one of my favorite chapters, fighting against the Night Lords, my least favorite chapter of the Heretics, and whooping their ass. It's awesome. The Night Lords do get in their licks, don't get me wrong. They actually drop several members of their raptors drop several members of the Carcharodon's first squad Terminators, which, again, this is why I have Brain here. First squad Terminators are no fucking joke. They are very, 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 very tough dudes, very skilled. So for, like, that just kind of speaks to how good the Raptors are for the Night Lords. But, just as a, okay, fair point, Damon. But, the Night Lords' Raptors are ridiculously good stealth experts. And the fact they were able to pull that off is nuts. They still lost. They got driven off the planet. Because, admittedly, the Night Lords are bullies. They're cowards. You know, so like in a straight up fight, if they're losing, they'll run. They'll get the fuck out of there. But the one thing that I love about the Night Lords cover, like the covers to their books, because this art is the one for Red Tithe. See if I can find the cover art for Outer Dark. Is the one thing you will notice when you look at their armor. Let me see if I can get a higher res version of this. The one thing you'll notice when you look at their armor is it's a hodgepodge of different armors. Cheesecake. I have some in the fridge as well. But yeah, their armor is all hodgepodge. This guy right there, here, is the captain of the third company. I forget his name. I'm gonna look it up real quick. This is Bale Shar. He's the head of the third company. Bale Shar's armor is Mark 3 and 4. It's ancient. Whereas you can see, like, some of these other ones are, like, 5 and 6. But this dude back here is in Mark 10. So's this dude. They're complete hodgepodge. I don't know if they... Well, this might not be Mark 10, but you get my meaning. Because I don't think that these are meant to be Primaris Marines. Because when did the Primaris debut? It's been a little bit, but I don't know if it's been that long. $2017, so the same year. So they don't specify in either book. Because I'm reading through Outer Dark right now, which is them going up against a Gene Stealer cult. They don't specify whether or not they've gone through the Rubicon Primaris. They could be, because that would explain how they've got it. But the whole thing about the Carcharodons is that they are very secretive. Most chapters out there don't know they exist. And they're part of the Cursed Founding. So they don't even know the sire of the gene seed, though we think that it's Corvus. Which would make sense. They're a very stealthy group. And they also suffer from mutations, sort of like Raven Guard do. So it would make sense. Though there have also been hints that their Primarch could also be Conrad. Though I don't think it was him. Because it wouldn't quite make sense in the lore. Because Conrad died pretty swiftly after the heresy. They sent an assassin after him and he just let himself get killed. Because he thought it was hilarious. Conrad Kurz is like the closest thing that 40k has to the Joker. Did they specify how the Shark Boys look like Sharkmen? It's part of their gene mutation. They all look like that. Their librarian is actually kind of funny to me because their librarian is like this old nice uncle of the group. He is literally. It's kind of funny because their librarian is almost like their chaplain too in his attitude, in the sense of he is consistently he is guiding Balshar. His nickname is the Grey Nomad. And he is constantly guiding Balshar and advising him. Because he's like over 1,000 years old. Yeah, the Legion of the Damned is who you're thinking of, Leo. But the funny thing is that there's this scene in Red Tithe. Carcharodons are one of those chapters that can access your memories by drinking your blood. So they're kind of vampiric too. So there is actually a scene where one of the Carcharodons, they're sitting in the dark, right? It's them plus a member of who are the motherfuckers that look like Judge Dredd in they're like prison wardens and cops and stuff in 40k. What are they called? The Arbites. So they've got a member of the Arbites with them, who's a rookie of the Arbites as well. She's going through it. She had to watch a Night Lord's assault firsthand. It's not pretty. I won't spoil the book, but it's fucking gross. It's nasty what they do to people. But So you got this young female member of the RVDs. She's surrounded by Space Marines. Which, by the way, is like one of the safest places you could be in a disaster like this, is surrounded by Space Marines. Because the shot of you living through it just skyrocketed. Honestly. Unless it's the Marines Malevolent. Then you're fucked. You're dying either way. You're dead. But anyway, remember the RBDs, they're sitting in like close to pitch blackness. So, but she's got her helmet on. And the one thing she makes out in the dark is one of the Carcharodons takes his helmet off. He grabs this cultist, one of the ones that they just killed, and it grabs him by the head and just goes right into his neck and just rips off a chunk, eats it, and drinks the blood. And then goes, "These are the only 2 guards." And then drops the corpse. But he knew exactly what they were walking into after that. And then he just puts his helmet back on like nothing. He's like, "Oh, that was messy." Plop. You know. Just that's just something they could do. And she is fucking horrified. She's like, "Oh my god!" She's not screaming, but internally she is like terrified. But the librarian puts his hand on her and just says, "It's okay." But again, this is why I mean, like, he's like a nice uncle. He basically calms her down. Hinted that he uses his psyker abilities to kind of calm her down. It basically is like, explains to her, some of us Astartes can read genetic memory through drinking blood and eating flesh. And she's still scared, but now she at least knows that, like, he basically assures her, it's like, understand, we are on your side here. We are here to help you. Because they do. The Carcharodons are scary. These guys are fucking frightening. Shockingly nice guys. Honestly. Incredibly polite, first and foremost. Second, they only speak in High Gothic. Not a lot of people speak only in High Gothic in the Imperium. So it's like perfect Latin. And on top of that, they're a stealthier group. Not much collateral damage with them. They strictly focus to just the enemies. I love the Carcharodons. Like, they're great. They're absolutely great. There's one thing that I have noticed with like a lot of the chapters that I like within 40K. The big thing about the trolley problem. A lot of you guys have probably seen this before, right? I'm going to explain the Space Marines to you and one of the biggest misconceptions about them. So the Space Marines, generally speaking, people think that they don't care about humans. That is bullshit. They absolutely, like most chapters, the vast majority of them care about people and will try to do everything that they can to make sure civilians are not harmed. Like, the vast majority. There's a few outliers. For example, the Marines Malevolent don't care. The Minotaurs don't really care. You know. The Exorcists. If they're on a planet, the Exorcists know that the Inquisition's probably going to exterminate the planet anyway at some point. If chaos keeps sprouting where they're at. You know. There's very few exceptions where that doesn't happen. However, with the one thing about of the Space Marine chapters that genuinely speaking, you know, hold humanity in a very high regard because they are human themselves. The thing about the Space Marines is that when they are faced with the trolley problem, and they are asked, what would you do here? A good chunk of them are going to say, I will flip the switch so that only this person gets hit. You know, that so that so that I have the chance to save the many. You know, because it's just pure numbers to them. It's what makes more sense. However, there are some chapters, the ones that I seem to like a lot, which are like the Blood Angels, the Space Wolves, the Salamanders, the Carcharodons. They just say, why not just take out the trolley? Because that's what Vulcan would do. Vulcan would charge the trolley and knock it off its rails. You know, or why not take out the track? You know. Yeah, me and Iron Warriors. How many more do we throw at the problem? Can we put even more of them on the track to gum it up? But that tends to be my my whole thing. I didn't even get a good illustration of the trolley problem either. The trolley problem is supposed to be, this one's a gag, but the trolley problem is supposed to just be this. But yeah, most chapters will just choose this path. The ones that I like the most are the ones that are like, I'm just going to take out the tram. Because what's going to happen is the Space Wolf is going to charge the tram and knock it off its rails. The Salamander is going to charge the tram and knock it off its rails. The Blood Angel is going to dive bomb it with a jump pack and knock it off its rails. The Raven Guard are going to snipe the trolley straight off so it derails. You know, the Carcharodons, same thing. They're going to set a trap so that it never gets to this point anyway. You know? So, that's kind of the thing I like. Because it's, we actually see this in action. In, one of the Armageddon novels, where it's Helbrecht gets into an argument with the Salamanders. Basically over this. The Salamanders' solution to the trolley problem is make sure the trolley doesn't become a problem. With the Black Templars, their solution to the trolley problem is right here. Is just flip the switch so it goes this way. It sucks. They're not fans of it. They will flat out tell you that they're not fans of it. Helbrecht even says that in the book. Is that he doesn't want civilians to die. Flat out does not like that idea. By the way, Helbrecht is as Black Templar as it gets. But he's perfectly fine with the trolley running over one dude to save a planet. You know? That's just his nature. It's who he is. You know? You know, I have been just yapping for an hour and 44 minutes. There's been no gaming. Like, at all today. I am so sorry. But it's been, I've been enjoying the yap. I started very frustrated, and now it's just, we're getting things that are interesting. For example, I meant to send this to Brain. So I could show it here since he's watching. We'll show you guys as well. Oh, this is gonna be great. When you see it, you're gonna laugh your ass off. I'm waiting for someone to get it. It's gonna be funny when you do. Trust me. Do they still miss it? 95%. Oh, that dude. That's the XCOM experience in a nutshell. Why am I wanting to laugh but have no clue why? Because it's a blood raven named Brother Kleptis. and the last name, the surname of Acapere means to steal. For those who don't know, the Blood Ravens have a reputation of taking shit. So this is admittedly not my meme. This is something out of the Space Marine subreddit, there are some subreddits I do enjoy reading because they're not cancer. There's very few of them. The Space Marine one is pretty fucking good. But Brother Kleptis has become a meme over there. I love it. So I put him in XCOM. The Blood Ravens have great memes. The Blood Ravens are a chapter full of Trazen's children. You know what? That needs to be a book, Zoc. That needs to be a book. Trazen and the Blood Ravens trying to go after the same relic so they both can steal it. If I ever write for the Black Library, I'm doing that. Not to mention, if there is one thing that is a bummer about Dawn of War 3 flopping the way that it did, is that we have not heard hide nor hair of Gabriel Angelos in a long time. Though I think somebody from GW did confirm that Gabriel is still around, and he did cross the Rubicon. That is a good point, Batzillo. They are strategically reallocating them. I think I have a couple of Blood Raven memes in my folder. Hold on. I do not. This is my favorite. I love this. Just the whole "you just posted heresy." It tickles me. What was bad about Dawn of War 3 again? They tried to implement like MOBA elements into it and it just didn't work. But yeah, I love the Inquisition one. I oddly enough don't have any more Bloodraven memes in my meme folder. I do have this one.
I have a feeling the more anime I talk about, the more that this is going to get used. And then some of these got put into videos. This one might look familiar to some of you guys. I think I used this in 1 Year War Part 1. And then this one Shirt Dude sent my way. This one might become my wallpaper during the Christmas season. What else do we have? Got a couple from comic books. This is from Invincible. To no one's surprise, it didn't make it into the animated series. Though Stephen Yeun delivering this would have been hilarious. And then there's this one. This one is from the Legend of Luther Strode, which, if you have not read, it is a tremendous, tremendous series, the Luther Strode trilogy. Because the funny thing about this is that this right here tends to be whenever I tell my buddy Josh, who's my best friend, about any date that I've gone on with a woman, is like, this is how he assumes that it ended. It's basically, he just goes, and then you fucked her. It's like, you have your 75% chance you're usually right. I am terrible. I am a whore. I really am. And I think I don't have a whole lot on my meme folder right now. My meme folder on my laptop is a lot bigger. Because, like, there's these. Jigen thumbs down. Jagan thumbs up. And then this one that I'm keeping for, I'll find some use for it at some point. If there's one thing that I've loved about working on Cyberpop with Lolly, it has been the Yuki is my favorite character. Everybody loves Rachel so far. When you read the book, Yuki steals the show. She is awesome as a character. I love her. She has some of the best expressions. She's such a bundle of chaos. Like, it's hard not to love her. By the way, something to mention. Is there anybody in here that ordered the Dakimakura from the campaign? If you did, I need you to go check your email if you ordered one. Because I've already placed the orders for everybody and given everybody their tracking numbers. So, those are fulfilled. The next thing that I'm going to consider doing, I don't know if I'm going to do it yet or not. I need to see if we have any spare poster tubes I can use. Is we are going to fulfill the mega size posters, because there's only like 5 that sold, so might as well, you know. Invincible Season 3 is out February 6th. Nice. Thank you for the $2, by the way. Space Marine 2, I'd like to see battles between Chaos factions. Your character ends up in the middle of it. That would be interesting. Because, like, the ones that I would see, like, probably have the most disagreement would be the Night Lords and the Thousand Sons. Tried to ask earlier, I've been listening to a lot of I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream videos. Looking to ask, what are your thoughts on Am? Great villain. Harlan Ellison is a heck of a writer. And I Have No Mouth is tremendous story. Very dark, very grim, but very good. Y'all know I like my grimdark sci-fi. Hey, look at my fucking wallpaper. Yeah, it's good stuff. One thing that's funny about this is you'll notice that if you look really closely at the weaponry of the Templars here, all of their weapons are chained to them. If I remember correctly, that's something that Sigismund saw the World Eaters doing, or was it the Word Bearers? I don't remember. I think it's the World Eaters doing, and he thought, "Great idea! I'm going to use it to kill you." I love Sigismund. Sigismund was too good for this world. Quite literally, he was like probably the most skilled Space Marine ever. God. Grimdark, not Grimderp, there's a difference. Yeah. This is true. Well, it's 9 o'clock. We played 0 video games. Still getting over the sick. I'm thinking it's the weather, man. Because it's like stupid fucking cold. Let me have a look here. I have errands to run. -10-degree wind chill. Fuck. It warms up on when... Oh, it warms up on my birthday. Nice. I'm down. Anyway. You guys enjoyed the yapping? Well, good. And have a good night, Leo. I had a lot to yap about. Have to admit, though, like, I started off very pissed. Still not happy. Don't get me wrong. Still not happy. But it is what it is. Quick prediction. Dark, but quick. Next graduation, my assumption, Ina or Gura. It's my prediction. It's not a happy one. Both of them are great, but likely who would be next to leave, I would think. Game of the year? I would have to say it's a tie between Space Marine 2 and Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill 2 for the single player experience. Space Marine 2's co-op experience is awesome. Like, the campaign is good, but it's kind of like your typical 40k story. We don't know what consequence it's going to have to the greater plot of the Indominus Crusade. It might not have any impact. We'll have to see what happens. It really depends on how much... A lot of the big stuff that happens in lore for Warhammer happens in the novels. But, yeah. The one thing that isn't mentioned enough, in my opinion, is how good the operations mode is with Space Marine 2. Opinion on Wife Jack? I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to Google it. That seems like bait. So we're not going to do it. But yeah, Space Marine 2, man, like, cooperatively speaking, like, is just one of the most fun experiences that I've had playing co-op with people in a long ass time. I love it. Like, it's my current addiction. But yeah, single player, like, Silent Hill 2 just blew me away with how faithful it was. Plus the new ideas that it brought in were really good too. It's a Wojak template. Why? Probably never heard of it because I don't really... Okay, so... How do I put this? I'm a bit of a normie, to say the least. I don't really like to... I don't mess around with a whole lot of stuff when it comes to the internet and, like memes and shit like that. So, like... The same thing, like, with, like, lolcows. There's not very many of them that I know about either. Like, I don't know the Chris Chan lore. Every time I hear about it, I kind of want to throw up. But, But yeah, like, a lot of stuff like that I don't know. The only lolcow thing that I've seen recently that made me laugh was somebody did one about King of Pole. Now, some of you probably have no fucking clue who that is, which is fine because, like, he wasn't really ever much of anything. But I knew who he was because I was around during the meme war, and I didn't really like that guy at all. Where's Arkham Knight? That's a very good question. The answer is I've been blabbing too much for Arkham Knight. But what was I saying? But yeah, King of Pole is the last I had heard of him. Dude, King of Pole was one of those guys that during the Gamergate days hung around Medicare, who was Internet Aristocrat at the time, and Ralph, and a few of those, like, dudes that, like, turned into, like, GG Revolt. He was, like, super tard, for lack of a better term. And consistently shot himself in the foot. So, like, seeing somebody A-log all of it, to me, was just glorious. I'm like, holy shit. This is a great train wreck, because fuck this guy. This has been such a weird year, though. Like, have you guys thought, like, I don't know if it's crossed anybody else's mind, but it's crossed mine. How fucking absolutely weird this year has been. Like, a lot of the things that were established over the last 4 years have started to just crumble, or things that have been established for a while are starting to crumble and fall away. Um, for example, like Review Tech USA, him deleting his channel, like his main channel. I was shocked because I used to talk with that guy back during the Blistered Thumbs days. Like him and guy went by the name of Zeitgeist Reviews. I think he walked away from YouTube years ago. But he and I used to talk to those dudes. And yes, I have Bolt Gun. I've played through most of it. I didn't finish it yet. But that's wild to see. We saw. Now we're seeing the possibility of Hololive's two first English generations falling apart, effectively. Um, what else was there? It's kind of just been really interesting to see like how the world is just turning on its head. It's just been a very weird year. Very, very weird to watch. Not been one of my favorites. I don't mind the election. I really don't care, honestly, one way or another. But, Fuentes fucking Destiny is a new one to me. I'm sorry, what? That's the new rumor. There's video of Destiny going down on a guy. Some people think it's Fuentes. Not confirmed, but it would be hilarious if you know Fuentes is a cat boy chaser. Well, yeah, like we've known forever that Fuentes is a closet gay. That would be funny to me if that's what busted up Destiny's marriage. Like Destiny sucking a dick, I can believe. He is a cocksucker after all. Like just as a person. Um, I'm changing the name of this stream. We're gonna do a different game. I'm just taking out the Arkham Knight thing. And he had his Discord leaked? Ah, I see. So here's my question with that. How many porn channels were there in his server? Okay, let me turn the audio up on this because I know that I usually have it down. Okay. Throw these on. It's easier to yap when I'm playing this game. What are my thoughts on the dipstick causing trouble in South Korea? Oh, Johnny Somali? Fuck him. And then let me do this other thing. All right. Rumors I haven't been able to confirm. He also slept with Lauren Southern. That would actually check in some like, I know that Lauren had gotten married, and then she divorced the guy because he was a pile. And a lot of women I've noticed, like, their reaction to bad relationships is to cheat. Well, in the modern day. Steven chose it for $2. Says, I'm surprised you didn't piss on Admiral Yee's grave. I'm waiting for that dude to just go to jail and not come out. Is it actually confirmed that he can't leave South Korea yet? Because I would think that if that's the case, that he wouldn't still be acting the way that he is. Unless he's just that stupid. Which is entirely possible. You think Destiny could bag Lauren? You would be surprised at how douchebags are able to get chicks. I don't know what it is. Some women just don't like to be, just like being treated poorly. Kept hearing he's causing trouble in Korea. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, that's why I think that, like, there's been exaggerations about the, like, him not being able to leave or stuff like that. Like, there's no way that if he was actually facing the kind of trouble that people are saying he's facing, that he would still be doing and acting the way that he is. Unless he's just ridiculously stupid. Which, again, entirely possible. But not completely probable, if you get my meaning. He is under active criminal investigation. I could buy him being that stupid. I don't know. I'm just giving the reasons for my skepticism is all. Don't take anything that I'm saying as fact. I talk about giant robots and apparently clean them. The cleaning is riveting. I would hope people are here more for the conversation, honestly, but this is one of those things that whenever I get to just like gabbing about something, I don't necessarily want to play something that's like super heavy action oriented. On this, I don't really have to focus as much. It's just like working a blue collar job, but in video game form. Not to mention, I just find this this game like shockingly relaxing. And admittedly, the reason I'm playing the Mechanicus soundtrack is because I'm pretty sure that this DLC turns you into one of the Mechanicus. Yeah. It turns you into a tech priest. By the way, I absolutely love the Mechanicus soundtrack. I haven't even played the game yet. And I owned it too. I just recently bought it for Black Friday. That will definitely be something we stream in the future, is Mechanicus. Oh, so it was so NBC got corroboration. Okay, well that would make sense then. Okay, fair enough. See, guys, this is what I meant earlier by like being flexible. I was not correct, or my skepticism was not warranted. There has been evidence to show that my skepticism was not warranted. Ergo, I admit that I was incorrect and assumed wrongly, and go with okay, fair enough. Not worth having an ego over. You know? No, Matara stream didn't had fun. That's my extent of knowledge on Mechanicus. Yeah, a lot of people really like it. It's apparently like a really fun, kind of really easy to get into strategy game. Because you don't have to deal with like the randomness of XCOM. It's basically you have line of sight or you don't. Have I seen the stuff that Elon has been posting? I saw this stuff about like an AI-driven game studio. I need to read the article about it. But out of the gate, just the description horrifies me. Because if there is an element of taking the human element out of the arts, I'm going to say right now, I would be tempted to somehow try to find a way to get in touch with Elon Musk and beg him not to do it. Like, please do not do this. But I want to read the articles about it to kind of see where he needs to go with it. Because the thing about the internet is everything is sensationalized. So sometimes you have to read between the lines of what an article says and what someone is actually saying, you know? Am I still on the snub? I am. There we go. Elon's talking about buying Hasbro. I've seen that. That would be interesting. Maybe if he buys Hasbro, he could convince Larian to do an expansion for Baldur's Gate 3. I find it funny that Larian was like, yeah, we're only doing one more update to Baldur's Gate 3. And then now they're doing another update that is going to radically change how some characters can be played. Like, what the fuck? Okay, got that. Thoughts about mouthwashing? I watched someone play it. Oddly enough, it was Fauna. And, I thought it was a really unique story. And, the thing is like I have no incentive to buy it now because now I know the story. Because it is admittedly a bit of a walking simulator, so. Thank you for the $5, Gunny. He says, I really like that RFK wants to clean out the food industry, like removing soy and seed oils. Hope Elon buys Hasbro to do more cool shit. Because admittedly, Hasbro has been incredible at shooting itself in the foot. Is there any lady in my life nowadays? Nope. I have not dated this year. Kind of stayed away from it. Admittedly, I don't want to say like work on myself, because that really wasn't the reason. I just kind of felt like how to word this. I feel like I didn't earn it. You know? Because this has been a year where, admittedly, when it comes to, like, my finances and stuff, I have barely gotten by. It's been hard. And I have honestly lucked out that YouTube has done as well as it has. If it hadn't been, I probably would have been fucked. So, to be honest, if I was a chick, I wouldn't want to date me right now. Not to mention I put on weight. Like, this has been a rough year. It hasn't been a bad year by any stretch of the imagination. Like, there's been a lot of good things that have happened. It's just not been easy. And there's been some pretty big negatives on top of the big positives. So, it's just one of those things where I think of that old hymn from when I was a kid that we sang in church all the time. Count your blessings, name them one by one. It's such a cheesy old hymn, but it for something about it just sticks with me. Because there's truth in it. Is that if you do keep an idea of the good things that happen in your life, it gives you perspective. You know? In the years of my adulthood, especially since my 30s are kind of wrapping up, my 30s have been like an absolute roller coaster. Where I've tried a lot of things to try and find success and to find what I wanted to do with my life. And you know, it obviously all hasn't panned out. And there's been difficulties in making some things work. But as I said, it's like, you know, looking at me right now, I wouldn't want to date me. This is the first year in my 30s, especially my late 30s, where I actually felt old, you know? But if there's one thing that I've been happy about, it's that the things that I've been most passionate about, and the things that I care about, and the things that I enjoy doing, you know, have been readily available, and something that I can take part in. And it's honestly been what's kept my head above water. So, I'm gonna preface what I'm gonna say next with, just the idea that I don't want sympathy. I'm just giving context. I have been probably interviewed for about one or two jobs a month for the last year. And I've been rejected from all of them. Either that, or I was asked to get in touch for an interview, and then I would call, and the position got filled because I called too late. Which, that's my fault, you know? So, in that regard, it's been one of those years where, like, I've kind of had to deal with a lot of rejection, which sometimes I don't take that well. So the ability to stick through it has been paramount in my life. But it hasn't been easy. So that's the context as to why I haven't been dating. Like, I haven't even pursued anything. Or, like, put myself in a situation to find anybody. I just feel like I haven't earned it. You know? Because the one thing I always tell young guys is you have to make sure that you are somebody that people will find interesting and find dateable. I just have not been that guy this year. You know, like, at all. Because the fact of the matter is that this is the reality of being a dude. Is that we need to fit what our potential mate is looking for. And what women find very important is security. They want to feel safe around you. They want to feel safe, and feel like they're going to be taken care of, you know, by their man. And though I've been able to get through it through YouTube stuff and also the generosity of a couple of friends, there's no woman that would look at that story and be like, oh yeah, I want that dude inside me. Come on. Like, that ain't happening. So, and again, I wouldn't blame them. But it's just a thing where I have been an absolute bum this year. And I've got to unfuck that before I start looking into dating. It's just got to happen, you know? But we'll get there. I feel like good things are coming on the horizon, you know? Because the one thing that I'm thinking about trying to see if I can get financial aid to take the... I'm going to turn the music down a little bit. To take the Google course on data analytics. Oh, excuse me. Because I feel like I've got a knack for it. Because a lot of what I do when it comes to, like, part of my management of Grindstone is I crunch numbers a lot. Because I very much believe that the numbers always tell a story. Numbers don't lie. You know? The numbers don't lie! And they spell disaster for you as sacrifice. He's fat! Sorry. Anyway. Sorry, my inner Scott Steiner just came out of nowhere. But, but as it stands, this month, on this channel, we got close to 1,000 subscribers in 1 month. I don't think that I have had that in a long-ass time. But generally speaking, when channels grow on YouTube, that's how it starts. You gain about 1,000. You start doing like 1,000 a month like clockwork, but then it goes up to 2, 3, 5, 7. Because the algorithm is picking up on what's going on. Also, thank you for the $5, Gunny. He says, I wish we would get an awesome single-player action shooter game for Gundam. Or a kick-ass arena fire for G Gundam. I would just like to see another Gundam Battle Assault game, personally. But that's just me. But anyway. But I've noticed that we're getting there. You know? We're getting there. We're doing it. And that's what's kept me going. You know, it's like, yeah, it hasn't been easy. It's been a hard fucking year. But that doesn't mean that it's over. Laser Pig would beg to differ about numbers. I have no idea who that is. But, But when it comes right down to it, it's like there has been there's been an upward trend for me. And it's like, okay, I can do it. It's basically filled me with confidence that other things aren't working, but this is, you know? And then the success that we saw with Cyberpop, you know? It just shows me, it's like, okay, this is working. Scottish military hardware, autist, boring as hell, cannot take criticism or opposing opinions. Okay, never heard of the guy. But yeah, as it relates to me though, it's like that fills me with confidence. It's like, okay, we're getting there. We're improving. We're getting to a much better place. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do, because the next big subscriber goal is for us to get to 50K, which we are over halfway there now. Lazy Pig's pretty funny, has a strong skepticism about primary sources, hence the joke. Okay, fair enough. Went over my head because most of the most content creators I watch on YouTube are people that do food. If you had made a Googa Foods joke, I would have gotten it immediately. Maybe. Probably not, but you get my meaning. I wonder what chapter this Thunderhawk is. I'm guessing this is a Blood Angels one. Yeah, well, that's the tough part, Brain. The key to long-term success when it comes to YouTube is to be a bit of a babyface. At least these days. Do you think Hassan and his will see a decrease in media presence influence in the future? I absolutely see it happening. Twitch is already getting pressure from outside sources. In fact, Trump had even mentioned something that the federal government was going to be looking into people that were outwardly going onto social media sites and spreading terrorist propaganda. And I'm like, oh no. I'm like, that's hilarious. Angry Boss for $5 says, my goal is to at least write a script for one of my story ideas. Hopefully you nail it, dude. Columbia renewed his membership. Thank you, dude. He says, I'm honestly giving myself a 2-year time window once I get a new job. That if I don't become a cop in Illinois, I'll just move out of Illinois. I wonder why my mother and others stay here. If there's one thing I've found about living in Illinois, buddy, it's that there's a lot of people here that just kind of feel like they have to live here. It's like, well, my family's here, so I don't want to move. That is the #1 excuse. Me personally, I love my family. I was very upset when I was sick and not able to see them for Thanksgiving. And I was so sick, I was getting the shakes from the fever I had. So it was a good thing that I stayed home. But my whole thing is like, when I think about what would fit best for me, I like the culture of the South a lot more than I like the culture of the North. Because Southerners are just so goddamn polite. Like, when I was working for that security company years ago, anytime that catastrophe duty came up and they said it was a southern state, I'm like, I'm there! I am absolutely, positively there. That means good food and nice people. Hell yeah. Sign me the F up. What was the suspicion of Illinois people? Well, it's just this is just this is a Blood Angels Thunderhawk. It's just been my whole thing. Like, I've always felt like everybody in Illinois just assumes everybody else is shady. Like, everybody kind of gives each other the side eye or just assumes the worst out of people. Helps if I take the cap off. By the way, did you guys in the chat know that the Blood Angels here actually have a video game about them published by Electronic Arts? It is Space Hulk, Vengeance of the Blood Angels. I think it was also the first Warhammer first-person game. I could be wrong, though. Yep, and so did the Dark Angels. You really want to play Fire War here? Why, just for the memes? One of the few who likes the Tau? How dare you? I'm kidding, by the way. Like whoever you want. I'm still gonna make fun of the Tau. Fucking weeb fish. By the way, this is doing a really good job of putting the Thunderhawk to scale. These things are huge. What did this ship fly through? A lot of this looks like ash. I'm guessing like a volcanic planet or something. Oh yeah, this is official downloadable content for the game. It's just cleaning off vehicles from 40K. Like you clean off a couple of different tanks, um, um, a dreadnought, a Dark Angel's dreadnought, a Titan. I'm not a Titan, a Knight. This is the biggest one so far. Is this ship? Okay, I think we're gonna go to the end of Noosphere here, and then I'm gonna call it because there is some stuff I would like to get done tonight. Actually, let's get the underside of the wing first. Get the front. No worries, Badzilla. Shit happens. Next stream Monday? Yeah. Monday or Tuesday. Yep. But unfortunately, he says, I'm sadly eternally spiritually linked to Slanesh. Partly thanks to my friend who's DM'd that AOS game for me and friends where I became her champion. Oh no. You know, one thing I thought about doing is, excuse me. I've thought about, firing up Tabletop Simulator and getting all the unofficial Warhammer mods for it and trying to learn the tabletop that way, because I don't want to buy a bunch of minis. I really don't have the money for that right now. Though painting them would be interesting. Because from what I understand, you could kind of put them together like Gunpla, in a way. It's just, I would have to buy the water slides and shit for, like, my favorite chapter. Because obviously I would, you know, run salamanders. But it's kind of interesting, like, I've taken the test of, like, what is your Space Marine chapter. For me, funnily enough, Salamanders actually tends to come up, like, third. You guys would be kind of shocked as to who, Well, actually, question for you guys. Who do you think that if the Salamanders aren't coming up as my first, who does? Honestly curious about what you guys would think. Because you guys might end up surprised as to what it is. Ah! The Dark Angels? Nope, not them. The White Scars, that's one of them. There's one other that I tend to score top. I'll give you this hint. It's not one you would expect. Second hint. It's not a Traitor Legion. Iron Hands? No. Not the Iron Hands. Nope, not Space Wolves either. It's one that you wouldn't expect from me. I imagine, like, Space Wolves... I would think that people would expect the Space Wolves from me. Considering if you gave me a pair of fangs, I would look like one of them. I give up. 420 Getty throws another $5, says, I did one of those birth chapters, he got the Emperor's Children. Yeah, Slanesh. So... I think even Brain is going to be shocked by this one. The Imperial Fists. So Brain was close. The fucking Imperial Fists. I was shocked. I was like, what? Really? I mean, I could take it again. You know what, fuck it. We'll do that to close out. Oh, it just pulled up the result. Like, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna take it again. This is probably bullshit, but fuck it. Okay. Question 1 of 5. I enjoy pushing myself to the limit, testing my limits. Mostly agree. I believe that everyone has something valuable to contribute, regardless of their background or abilities. Yes. Wait. Next. Okay. Often motivated by my emotions or feelings. Slightly agree. I believe in the importance of celebrating one's victories and accomplishments. Yes, definitely. Highly adaptable, able to thrive under any condition. This is something that this year has definitely proven. I believe that ends justify the means. No. Willing to take risks in order to achieve my goals. Yeah, for the most part, for a little bit, yeah. Prefer to make decisions based on logic and reason rather than emotion. Yes. Willing to sacrifice short-term gains for long-term success. Also yes. Believe in beauty and aesthetic in all areas of life. Very true. Highly perceptive and able to pick up on subtle cues and details. Yes. Actually, I only slightly agree with that. Value loyalty and brotherhood above all else. Yeah, loyalty is pretty important to me. Believe that technology and innovation are keys to achieving success. Yes. Believe loyalty and honor are important qualities a person can possess. Yes. Comfortable with following orders and executing them with precision. Yeah. Believe that justice and morality should be upheld at all costs. Yes. Believe that following a set of rules and principles is the best way to achieve success. Comfortable keeping secrets and working in the shadows. No. Highly empathetic and attuned to the emotions of others. Not really. Well, I'm kind of mid on that. Believe in the power of self-discipline and hard work to achieve success. I also agree with that. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to achieve the goals, even if it means bending the rules. No. Prefer to work alone and rely on my own abilities rather than collaborate with others. Slightly agree. Highly competitive and enjoy pushing myself to be the best. Slightly agree. Comfortable operating in stealthy and secretive. Not really. Believe in the importance of moving quickly and decisively. Yes. Highly adaptable, able to think. Already did that, but yeah. Strong sense of duty and responsibility towards those I care about. Yes. Value tradition and heritage and believe they should be respected and preserved. Kind of agree. Believe in the importance of defending what is right and just. Yes. Value independence and personal freedom. Yes. I'm fairly disciplined. Believe in striving for excellence and achieving the highest level of proficiency. Yes, I do. Willing to take extreme measures to achieve my goals. Not really. Believe in the importance of enjoying life and having fun, even in the difficult of circumstances. Well, we talked about that today. I obviously agree. Believe in the importance of community and helping others. Sort of. I'm highly creative and enjoy expressing myself through art, music, or other forms of creative activity. Yes. Believe that strength and power are the most important qualities. No, I don't. Believe it's important to challenge authority and question the status quo. Yes. Highly mobile and adapt to any situation. Important to fight for justice and fairness. Yes. Just ask that one. Yes. Willing to endure physical discomfort and pain to order and achieve my goals. Yes. I enjoy working as part of a team. I do. Believe in the importance of being true to oneself and one's own values. Yes. I value loyalty and trust in my relationships. Yes. See what it gives me. Now I got the fucking wolves. What? This test is busted. What? Shit's rigged. Every time I have taken this quiz, I have given almost the exact same answers and get different results. I shit you not. First time I took it, I got the salamanders. Second time I took it, I got the white scars. Third time I took it, I got the fists, and now I take it and I get the wolves. Man alive. So you don't know what this confirms? Personality tests are bullshit. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, guys. We've been going on for like 3 hours. I got some stuff to do this evening. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I don't think there's any way to redirect to this evening. So I'm just going to let you guys go wherever you want. Have a good rest of your weekend, for sure. and I'm going to go get some food and go from there. So, everybody have a great night. I'll see you on Monday or Tuesday, and we'll have some more fun.